All right, welcome to the latest episode of 10 Minutes with. You can see Kate is not here today. She's actually has a migraine, so she's out. So it is just me today. So I want to introduce our guest who recently joined the StadiumScene.tv network, host of the Michael Balko Show. Please welcome Michael Balko.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks, guys.
Sure. Thanks for jumping on. And for those who are seeing this, I actually, our original guest for today had to cancel last minute due to an issue. And I literally went on to Instagram and DM'd Michael and said, "Hey, are you available right now?" He said, "Yes." And here we go. So um, let's get started. How, you host your own podcast. Why did you get into podcasting?
Well, I just have it's like a love for I've worked in the sports industry for a few years. I worked for a local G League team, the Erie Bayhawks, as well as a local minor league baseball team, the AA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers, the Erie Seawolves, and I've just always kind of had a love for sports. And I've gotten to know these athletes, throughout my time working with them. And I just, I want to give athletes more of a platform to really just share their stories from a perspective that not many people really get to hear it from. And so, that's kind of why I fell into the love of podcasting. It really just kind of started for me whenever I just wanted to get to know a little bit more about draft prospects coming up. And, I just started I have a large following on Instagram on a Saints account. And, I just I was reaching out to players, and it's just, really cool, as like a kid who fell in love with sports, to be in the position I am today, to get to talk to professional athletes and college athletes and just kind of follow their stories and journeys and just get to, explore different avenues and all that good stuff. And that's just kind of why I fell into the love of podcasting. And, actually my girlfriend suggested that I start a podcast, and she'd really been a huge supporter in helping me get it started. Couldn't have done it without her. So big shout out to her.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I mean, it's just, you're saying with the athletes and everything, and you get this athlete who you've watched on TV, and then you're sitting down, and it's just this surreal feeling of you're talking to this person. It's really cool. There's nothing, can't describe it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you kind of brushed on it a little bit, but what is a typical episode like for you?
Well, it all starts mostly on shooting Instagram DMs. And that's just literally if I see an athlete that I think has a cool story or, something like that, or, maybe it goes to a Division I college, and I try to hit different schools, and my goal is to eventually have one from every major D1 school and every NFL team, this and that. But, an episode typically I'll schedule them, and then I'll get them in, just a Zoom call, and we'll get them on the show, and I'll ask them a variety of questions depending on, the research, their background, this and that. I'll always start it off with asking a little bit about their hometown. I know everybody's hometown is very important and special to them. So I try to make sure I put emphasis on that. Give them a chance to shout out their hometown. And it's just usually I talk a little bit about them, kind of like their story to how they got to the point of where they are, whether it's NFL, high level of college, JUCO transfers, small school guys, anything. Literally, I range from everywhere. And actually, I'm going to start branching out to other sports as well. I have my friend coming on Thursday. He's a baseball player in the minor league system, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I just kind of ask him a little bit about that. I ask questions that I would want to know myself, because I know other people would likely want to hear it too. Like, who's the best player you played with, played against, stuff like that. Where do you see yourself in the future? Who do you model your play style after? Stuff like that. Just interesting questions that I feel like other people would want to know.
So let's do some name dropping here. Who's the biggest get you've had so far?
Ooh, that's easy. Morten Andersen,
Yeah.
NFL Hall of Famer.
I thought you were gonna say
that. Yeah, but I've had, aside from that, because nothing can really compare to that, I've had Saints corner Delvin Breaux, who's the highest paid player in the CFL right now. I've had Ty Rauza, who scored the first points in the XFL. He's a kicker. I've had some up-and-coming college guys. Dijon Turner, who's a corner for UAB. He's going to have a big year. Alex Highsmith, defensive end on the Steelers now. He's a third-round pick out of Charlotte. So all kinds of guys. I've just kind of been blessed to be in the position I am to just reach out to these guys through their agents a lot of times, and just getting a hold of them and getting them on the show.
Awesome. All right. So let's just say you're going back and starting all over again. What piece of advice would you give yourself that you've learned in this journey to you on day one?
man, shoot your shot. You know, like if you want an athlete, man, the worst thing they can say is no or ignore you or just not even see the message at all. Shoot your shot. Like just go out there, just DM 100 people if you want to, because you'd be surprised at who's going to say
Oh
yes.
yeah.
It's crazy. Like I did not expect to like just be able to shoot a DM to somebody or a Twitter mention or something like that and just expect them to actually respond to me. So yeah, shoot your shot. Just like go out there, have fun with it. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's just like you're trying to entertain your guests. I mean, like you're following obviously. But at the same time, you're trying to have fun yourself. And like, it's just a cool situation. Like every time I'm uploading a podcast, I'm getting retweets, just likes. And then like, obviously my family, my girlfriend's family, just a bunch of love and support from Erie, Pennsylvania. Shout out 814. But, you know, all that stuff, just like a lot of love just locally. And then it starts to garner over time. And then you just get the players' families and they start to show love to it. And then that's kind of what I would say is just make sure you're going for people who have somewhat of a following, because their families, their friends are all going to watch it, retweet it, show love to it. It's really just that simple. Shoot your shot.
And just to reemphasize the point you make, you know, people are naturally full of fear. What's the worst that can happen? They say no, right. They ignore you. I mean, is it really that bad? I mean, it's not like they're going to tar and feather you for asking to come on your podcast. I mean, right, it's not going to happen. So,
yeah, and then I would also say just like be professional about the way you approach them. Don't just say, "Hey man, trying to join my show," because they don't know anything about you. You got to really just put in, you know, kind of like a professional message. Say, "Hey, like my name's so and so. I was just wondering, I have a podcast. It's called this. Here's a link to it. This and that. I've interviewed so and so before." Notable names you would want to mention if you're brand new. Obviously, you don't really have a basis. And then you just kind of say, "Hey, this is what I'm trying to prove." Give you the stage, really. In my instance, it's just give you the stage to share your story in a non-filtered kind of point of view. Because, you know, when they're talking to the media, usually they have like their media tone, their personality. I don't like to consider myself media. I just like, you know, I tell them before every Zoom call, I'm just like, "Hey, man, I'm just a friend. Talk to me like a friend. You know, if you want to swear, go ahead." You know what I mean? It's just like, do your thing, be normal, be natural, throw me some sound bites if you can. But
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've noticed that, you know, you get, you know, even non-athletes, you get them into a conversational setting where it's like you're having a coffee or a beer, whatever your preference is. You know, they'll tend to be much more open with you. I mean, it's pretty obvious. But all right, so now that we're running out of time, let's plug the show in your social media. Where can we find it?
All right, the Michael Balko Show. That's the name of my show. You can find me on Instagram at the Michael Balko Show. I'm on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the major podcasting sites. I'm on it. As far as my Instagram and Twitter handle, it's Instagram is michael.balko, michael.balko, and then Twitter it's at Michael Balko USN. That's how you can find me. Reach out, and I'd love to talk to you guys.
Awesome. All right, Michael, thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you.
All right, for those, thanks for watching. Follow us at Stadium Scene on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, at Stadium_Scene on Instagram, and we'll see you next time.